Okay, let's jump into this one. So, been a little bit light on these daily sort of uploads and that, just because I'm actually sort of getting a few things planned. I'm off to Europe in a couple of days, so need to get a couple of things sorted just before we sort of get on the way. But of course, always still keeping an eye on the markets and sort of seeing what we can do. So yesterday, geez, what a day for particularly DXY. Look on the DXY chart now to start off with, and if we get back on to the lower time frame, really shows how ridiculous yesterday's price action was. It was just this incredible tight range. Where was the open? Somewhere over here. Where we got Monday? Yeah, so around this point over here, and it just really just super tight range the whole day. Just very, very flat through here. And then obviously, look, it took till 1 o'clock in the morning. So pretty much sort of close of Europe session before we actually saw a bit of a break. And it just sort of came perfectly in line with this rising support that we'd been looking at and sort of marked out. So, yeah, technical breakdown there, pushing back down a little bit further there. Not really too much to sort of say about it at the moment because, I mean, as I said, it was just so flat yesterday. Hasn't really been. There was a bit of Empire State data out last night, or US data, which was the Empire State, which came in better than expected, but still in a negative. If you can sort of make sense of sort of where that places things. So it means that sort of obviously, the situation isn't as dire as they sort of thought, but it's still not rosy. So, it doesn't really bode overly well. Like the reaction was from 10:30, so it was around this point over here. It was a little bit of a push up, I think this candle here. And then obviously, bang, it pretty much just sold into it. So again, look, it's it's not as bad as they thought it was going to be, but certainly it's not a positive. So yeah, there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done there. So this morning we saw a little bit of a gap down, a little bit of a continuation of that move into the close of DXY. Obviously, you can see here, little gap, and it's already closed it straight away. So typically in that, it puts it more in the camp of we're going to see a continuation of the direction of the gap with DXY, but it also has a chance, obviously, just to get those sort of USD fanboys in and just buy that and sort of take it straight back up. So is there anything that lines up with this? Hmm, not really. I mean, it gets close, but not really enough to sort of say that that's a bit of a channel, is it? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, look, we've got back down underneath this previous level, which we've seen the market sort of sell it down from previously. It's not a major level, but it's something to be aware of. So now we've closed the gap. The alerts go down the bottom and just above to sort of see if we're going to. Oh, I can't copy your alert, can we? See if we are going to get close the gap and then continue the sell down, or if we're going to see this just okay, a little bit of a sort of blowout through here and then a rally back up to the top side over here. So I'll just put this in here. DXY, look, I'm just going to call it a short-term rally because we're sort of far off from confirmations of going much higher. So yes, we'll see how this one sort of breaks. At the moment, like with the reaction that we had early, it does look like it wants to sort of push up a little bit higher here. But of course, you just got to wait for that confirmation to see if that's actually going to be the case. If we get onto a bit of the higher time frame here. So this was the course, the sort of directions we were looking on the weekend wrap. So, we sort of said, look, there's two levels of defense here. We got one sort of being this previous area over here, where we're sort of seeing the sellers. This was the back test after it broke that trend. It's come back up here, and this was the first thought, as it's following now, it's hit into this area, sold back down. Second one being that if it does take out these wick highs, which are Friday wick highs, let me sort of clean this up a little bit, put these onto the lower time frame. Excellent. So yeah, if we do take out these wick highs over here, that this is the price target to go up to. So obviously, as of right now, it hasn't it hasn't done that. We've saw that first line of defense coming back in, as we can see, marked out for this level. What you want to sort of see, if you're looking downside here, we want to see a continuation. We are looking at it a little bit. This is on the daily, a little bit overbought, and it has crossed over through here. But really, till we get back down below this sort of 514, I would say, because you don't want to just get a typical. We've seen how DXY has been running recently. See these sort of levels here, it gets right up just by a point and then sort of reverses. So what we want to sort of see is a clear sort of concise move back below really 105. A round number would be great to take out to sort of call it confirmation, but you could probably sort of call it a little bit earlier than that. So, high 105, 09, 08, these kind of levels here. I would say that's pretty much confirming that, yes, we're going to see another sell down here. And then we're looking at a sort of larger kind of range. We could say, okay, where would the buyers be sort of targeting, or where would the sellers be targeting, sorry, but where would the buyers be looking to have another go? It'll be this zone over here where you've got the body feel of this bounce move after, and then remember, this was just after Jay Powell sort of came out with a little bit of sort of surprising commentary, which I think really caught the market off guard, because it was particularly, as you can see, this is the CPI sell down. Market's like, bang, well, here we go. You say you wait for the data. We got the data. And then Jay Powell goes, oh, but that doesn't really count. What? Like, you know what I mean? And of course, the market reacts, and they sort of continued on and pushed up, as we sort of saw through the end of last week. So still in a sort of bullish, short-term, medium-term bullish sort of direction, as you can see, sort of, this kind of thing here. I mean, it's moving up. You got higher lows, you got higher highs. So till these things, this isn't an actual sort of channel, but it just emphasizes the point of higher highs and higher lows. This is the kind of idea that you want to see, as I said, coming down underneath that 105, moving back down here. You'll see some reaction from this level. Whether it stops there and then sort of comes down and then sort of rallies all the way back up, or just has a little bounce, you just got to, you can't predict that. You just got to sort of say, look, where will they react from? And that's where they will react from. So if you're dollar short, and we do get the push down here, as we come into this zone, that's where you take some profits. Like, you got to get paid for the work. So, you don't sort of have to close your whole position, but, you don't necessarily start to add to positions of dollar short as you're coming into an area where you expect to see a reaction, and you will see a reaction from there. If we do get down here, of course. As I said, this is given the idea that we might actually sort of see. Let's see if this actually does line up for a bit of a channel. Actually, it might. Yeah, I mean, these highs and lows are all kind of lining up. So there's a reason, there's a reasonable argument to sort of think that we may sort of see a little bit of a cooling down over to this side, particularly since it's overbought and rolling over. But again, look, this could just charge straight up here. This could just be a little sort of breather. DXY, this is what it loves to do. It loves to look like, oh, it's failing, and then they go bang and jam it up five levels. So we just got to wait for those confirmations. At the moment, super tight range again. We'll see if it's sort of going to continue and push back up here. If it does, we look for the body fill over here, 105.50. And then if it's going to sell down, that'll be another area where you expect to see a little bit of a sell down. If it then sort of pushes through and charges up here, well, we've got our price targets up the top over here. So really at the moment, it's the market has just been so back and forth and back and forth, which is, I mean, it works really well if you're a short-term trader, but if you're trying to hold anything, it's an absolute nightmare. So there's a little bit to sort of unpack, but at the moment, we are looking like dollar bullish. But of course, if we do start to see those breakdowns below 105, you might see a little bit more of a pile on the basis that, this is a known sell area. We've rejected from there, and you've got to see how deep that pullback wants to come here. And you got to, again, look at where this high came up to. Anybody that was short and they put their stops above these technical highs over here, well, they're all taken out now. So we'll have to sort of see how that goes, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a push back up to 105.50 here, 105.34 currently. All right, move along. Got gold. Gold's trying, but again, it's been trading. I mean, look at it. It is still in this sort of, sort of downward sort of grind. But realistically, if you zoom out a bit and look at this, and this is what I was saying over the weekend, we really are just going sideways and ranging. I think there's still an argument to sort of say that we could come up and at least test this falling resistance, which gives us a little price target that we put at sort of mid 50s, so 23.50s or so. But again, we need the confirmations first. At the moment, it's sort of tried to push up a little bit off yesterday's lows. But yeah, again, it's failing. It's still finding people trying to sort of sell it down. I mean, it was a pretty slow day all round yesterday, and it was just like a slow drift down. And if you sort of have a look, I think it was around sort of again that sort of 1:30. It was trying to push up, and then maybe 12 o'clock actually. So I'm just having a look on a different chart. So I might as well show it on this chart here. This sell down here, like so, this was the little consolidation box that I was looking for with that sort of price move up through here. This obviously failed as it came down, retested the underside, bang, sold down again. So we can get rid of this because that's no longer valid. We can move this back out of the way a little bit. And you can see that this is the little area here where we're sort of that 25, 26. It's kind of respecting a little bit here. So we can see it tried to hold it. Once it broke down, came up and retested it. Came up again, retested, and then bang, rejected. And now we're coming back up, we're retesting again. So you know what I mean? Like this, if you want to look at it a short-term move, this is the kind of area. So get these out of the way. These are the kind of areas that in a sort of intraday trading, you want to sort of see if the market's going to move, it's going to move past these. And so again, this one would then sort of come up to this level over here, 34 to, take out the wick highs 36. And then of course you got these wicks over here. They're the levels you need to beat if you're going to go up to the 50s. Because we know that the sellers have been here. Sellers couldn't quite get up to this level over here. And we've sort of seen it sell down a bit more. So you can see as this, sellers are moving their sells down a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. So if you can get up to this sort of 34, 35, and we can get a solid close up around 35, I think that's a pretty good sort of trade up to mid 50s. But we've been seeing actually 11 o'clock is just, 11 o'clock seems to be the hour for volume into the metals market. And it absolutely just gets like hammered each time it sort of opens up. So, as we see here, this is the 11 o'clock sort of candle. We've seen a bit of a sell down. It's fighting back a little bit here. Put it onto the 15. But you can see as 11 o'clock, they started to sell it a little bit into that, but 11 o'clock, 25 back down to 18. Not a terrible sell down, but again, it's just nothing spectacular. So yeah, they're the levels intraday to beat 26. Then you target 34, get above 34. Well, then you're looking at sort of more major sort of breakouts. But we might sort of need a little bit of news to get that moving. Again, Asia sessions for gold are generally worth about $5 majority of the time. And then you sort of occasionally get those absolute sort of screamer sessions. But most of the time it's pretty quiet. We got retail figures from US tonight. Just have a quick look. What are we expecting? They're expecting a little bit of a tick up, and yeah, so a little bit of a sort of a tick up from 0.0% last time to 0.3%. This is month on month. So if we see a little bit of a push up on that, then that's probably more likely to sort of strengthen the dollar a little bit, and of course, weigh on metals a little bit more as well. All right, flip across. We got Aussie. Aussie. This is a trade that I thought over the weekend. This nice little head and shoulders came up here. Looks like it was going to give it a go early, but obviously we can see failed. Bang, push down. We got the RBA at 2:30 today, Melbourne time. Get this out of here because this isn't valid anymore. And as you can see, look, it's again this morning tried to open up a good recovery from the lows. Came right down here. You can see this tap just into this little support area we had marked out. So it's come from 85. It's bounced all the way back up to 20. So it's a 35-point bounce. Not too bad. Around this area, we can see buyers are sitting around here. Aussie likes to do these little trap out moves. That's great. It's moved up here. Buyers are sitting around here. Sellers are sitting around here. I think the RBA is going to be the one that sort of shunts it one direction or the other. Because at the moment, we're just sort of seeing, as you can see, sells are here, sells are here, sells are here, come back up, sells are here again. We want to see an absence of sellers at this level. Once you get pushed through here, well, then you can move up there. And again, that price target that we had 2 seconds ago for the head and shoulders might actually still be vaguely relevant because we could actually call this a bit of a range. Yes, it popped out a little bit at the bottom here, but not enough to sort of say anything more than that was maybe just a little bit of a sort of fake out. So we move this level here, move this level here again. that would provide a little bit of a sort of topside target for us till we sort of see really what direction they want to take DXY at the moment, and well, US dollar as a broad sense, really. But yeah, for now, we can see it's trying to get up over this 20 line, but again, it's just failing. So I'm not expecting a great deal from this session. If we have a look, DXY is still attempting to sort of get up over that level. We've got 13 minutes left on the hour, so we'll sort of see how that one sort of closes out. Flip across copper, just an absolute nightmare of a trade. Really try to get this right. It's sort of like, as I said, I'm an in and out trader. I'm not someone that tends to hold things. I gave up some pretty good paper last week. Like I sort of caught this move, caught this move, caught this move, and didn't bank on any of them. I just sort of held through. I got this one that got stopped out. These two came up here and sort of was still sort of holding at the moment. So yeah, a little bit in draw down here, which I mean it's a small position, so it's not too bad. But what are we looking? A couple of 100 points or so, which isn't a great move. It's about 1% down or so at the moment. So we'll see if this one can continue through. But I think I'm pretty much at my last throw of the dice with copper. I mean, look, it is sort of coming back down and sort of rounding a little bit, but as you can see, we had the wedge, failed. Came up and again, higher high. This one was good. This was off the US news and failed miserably. A couple of 1,000 points down here, 2,000 point drop. So yeah, it's not looking particularly great, but it is. These drops are getting a little bit less each time, and we're getting a little bit more of a sideways kind of action, this kind of move now. So again, if we can sort of get back above this sort of like 46 is really, or 460 is really your breakout point. So we're a little way off from that at the moment, and we'll sort of see how this one sort of plays out, sort of moving forward. Finish off with China. China, again, I mean, there's not really too much to say. I did see a report from HSBC earlier sort of saying that they expect the yuan to weaken, which will be meaning a continual sort of grind to the top side here. But as we sort of said, with China, with this yuan, it doesn't really move a great deal intra-session. Like, it's really just grind sideways. I don't know what was going on here. There was some sort of big shakeout thing, but obviously it flew back up into this grind area, and that's just where it's at. So, up and testing the top side, this is a resistance area. We've seen it sell down from here a number of times. Till it gets back down under, this is yesterday's fixing. If we get back down underneath that, then we might see a little bit of a push back down to the support areas where we know that the buyers are sort of sitting. But really, till you break this little sort of blue range through here, it's just going to be more of the same, just sideways grind and nothing too spectacular. So yeah, look, today, what do we have? Pop it over here. We got the news coming up. We've got RBA is the big one. Look, pretty much expectations going to be the hold. Everyone's going to be looking for the sort of the press conference, which is a new thing this year for the RBA, sort of following suit with the US and the Fed, where we'll sort of hear Bullock talk. And you'd be looking to see, are they going to take a stance? Are they going to actually do something and say, look, we're going to sort of fight back against this and we're going to do what needs to be done? Or are they just going to say, hey, look, we're not ruling anything in, we're not ruling anything out? I mean, if you're going to say that in a press conference, what's the point in even having it? You know what I mean? The press conference is supposed to explain their sort of feelings, or well, their feelings, their thoughts with these kind of things. And so how did they come to these conclusions? Like just sort of getting up on stage and sort of going, oh, I'm not ruling anything in, I'm not ruling anything out. It's like, well, clearly, and that's why things are still flat. So look, expectations pretty much a hold. There's always the shock idea, or the shock move would be if they did hike, and they're definitely not going to cut. But if the market's pricing for a hold and they hike, we're going to see Aussie fly. But I would give that a 0.5% chance. Most likely, cash rate holds, come into the press conference, they say, hey, look, you know what, we're going to wait. We have to wait for more data. Yeah, that's what we're going to wait for. It's the same sort of thing every time. I mean, if you watch the Fed, like Power Talk, that was like the driest, just non-event of anyone that I've seen. I mean, they're not particularly sort of spectacular things typically anyway, but it was just such a sort of robotic response with it all. Like you could have just, put the piece of paper up on the wall and just had people read it. Like he added nothing to it. So yeah. Anyway, we'll see how we go, and check back in tomorrow. All right, that's it from me.